And Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Happy Wednesday morning. We've made it to the halfway point of the week. Another brand new live edition of Talking Ball. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. And it will be safe travels into work, into school, because tomorrow.
So that's the first day, huh?
Tomorrow, yes, Madison County, Madison City, Limestone, pretty much
Private
everybody.
schools, everybody.
Pretty much everybody going to be getting cranked back up tomorrow. So
I tell everybody where I live all the time. So
school zones are going to be active.
Well, yeah, but as I was leaving this morning, I could tell they hadn't started back at Whitesburg Christian Academy because I didn't have a steady stream of
cars going in,
folks getting dropped off.
You should have that tomorrow.
Okay,
so just be ready tomorrow.
That was one of the questions I was going to have today. Like, is tomorrow first day of school?
Yes, tomorrow the countdown is on. Less than 24 hours away from those kids having to end their summer, so to speak.
End their summer.
You listen to them all, and they start, my summer's over. I'm like, well, technically, summer's not over. It's just you've got to go back to school.
Right.
24 days until we start week 0 of the college football season. 17 days until we start SEC football. And for those that really want to care, tomorrow is not just only the first day of school, but it is also when the AP preseason poll ballots are due. You got to turn in
my favorite thing.
Your AP preseason poll ballot tomorrow for college football. And just so you know, as you're driving into work this morning, you can tell everybody that only 2 times in the 21st century has a team been ranked number 1 in the preseason poll and has gone on to win the college football national championship. Only 2 times in the 21st century. Of course, Alabama, one of those 2 times. They did it back in 2017.
Right.
And then the other one, you got to go all the way back to, I had it here, but you got to go all the way back. You got to go several years. USC was the last team to do it, and that was 2004. Mm-hmm. So Alabama and USC. So being ranked number 1 in the preseason really means absolutely nothing when it comes to potential national title hopes. Georgia was ranked number 3 in 2022. Georgia was ranked number 5 in 2021. Alabama in 2020 was ranked number 3. And in 19, LSU was ranked number 6. So that sweet spot is 3 to 6 as far as national champions go. But anyway, Georgia will have the honor this year, most likely, of being ranked preseason number 1. So, but the other big story, fall camp does begin today. Today is the day.
Today is the day for that.
Today is the day. We know that for sure. We've counted that down since Monday, but today is the day for fall camp. And Kalen DeBoer will meet the media this morning at 11:30.
A little bit different.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's all, it's day 1 of camp.
There's Caleb Tulane on the screen.
Yes.
Playing for the Chicago Losers.
Look, you get the Hall of Fame. Look, okay, let me ask you this. Is there anything more overrated and overblown than the AP preseason poll or the Hall of Fame NFL game?
Well, we'll have to ask John Abraham about that. He's been talking about this Hall of Fame game all week. I'm not into it. Manny, you guys that's been a big topic on the Morning Blitz. I've been talking about that Hall of Fame game. And I guess he's going to play in it.
He says he's not. Up there it said he's not going to play on the screen. And they said
I read yesterday that he said, well, he'd like to play. And he was probably
it said he will not play tomorrow night. So that's why
why in the hell even have it then? That's
what I'm saying. Is there any? More overblown. I know you're going to sit in the TV, you get to watch football, but it's really, it's more of just why not just practice?
I understand that he's a rookie and everything, but he's one of the attractions as to why the game is on TV. So he's not going to play a long time, but why not play him a couple of series? I just don't get it. You know what I'm saying?
That Hall of Fame game comes so quickly, and I don't know. To me, it's to me it doesn't mean anything.
And he's one of the draws there, so I don't understand why not let him get his feet wet and play a couple of series. I just don't. I don't get it. I mean, you're like, oh my God, he might get hurt. I mean, he could get hurt, in practice in a non-contact situation. But I don't know why you don't start getting him ready to go. I think it's kind of stupid. And if you're going to put it on TV and make a big spectacle of it, which they are because it's the Hall of Fame game, well, then I think, some of these guys need to play in said game.
Yeah.
I mean, I've
never understood all those things. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time I watched it. I mean, I in the past I've watched a series or two of it, but I mean, again, they're not going to play that. And now it's actually getting worse. Like if with you just confirming that Caleb Williams isn't even going to play in the game. So what is the point of watching? Is for me. I mean, you're just going to watch a bunch of, backups that,
let's just have a glorified scrimmage.
I mean,
practice.
The majority of them probably won't even make the team.
I know.
So, I mean, why even put it on television?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know. I get it. It comes on the heels of the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
Or, the Hall of Fame ceremony.
Yeah,
which is great and everything. And they play this game. But I mean, it's yes, it marks the return of football, but it doesn't mark the return or the start of anything because all it is a glorified scrimmage.
Without the best players playing now.
It's just a glorified scrimmage is all it is. Back in the day, you used to have like the Gatorade Bowl for high schools where you'd scrimmage against each other and you'd bring Gatorade in for attendance and all that. Basically, that's what that is.
Yeah.
They could just have the fans bring Gatorade in and donate it or whatever because it's just a glorified scrimmage. Let's go to the phone lines. Brandon is with us this morning. Good morning, Brandon.
What up?
They should just turn the Hall of Fame game into a rock and jock game at this point.
I guess.
I mean, it's all it means is that football's getting closer. It doesn't mean it doesn't start anything. And that's why it doesn't mean, yes, we will have football on TV.
We know training camp. I guess it's your official, signal that training camp is underway. We know it is anyway.
Yes.
Now you're playing an exhibition game, but your best players aren't even playing.
It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean really anything.
So,
well, Caleb Williams has done a lot of work to make sure that he gets to keep as much of his salary as possible, negotiating his payment in forgivable loans, which he's got a really good accountant if he knows how to do that, and a really good tax attorney. Don't mean the IRS ain't going to come after you anyway, but smart on his part. Wanted to ask Drew something. I noticed he was tweeting out some of the AHSAA winningest coaches. So is Paul Benefield the most winning active coach in Alabama high school right now?
I don't think so. I believe that's going to be Terry Curtis because Terry Curtis is not retired, and that Terry Curtis is at UMS Wright, and I believe Coach Curtis is still rolling, and I think I want to say Coach B's up. He might be right behind Coach Curtis, but I think Coach Curtis is very likely the winningest because he's been at UMS Wright for a long time, and I want to say he's got the most wins right now.
Okay, I wondered who it was. Our school starts tomorrow as well, and I was sitting through that mind-numbing orientation yesterday and was looking through, and I said to myself, who is the winning most winning coach in Georgia? So I got to take a look, and it is Alan Chadwick of Marist, who's number 2 all time.
Oh, wow.
He became the coach at Marist in 85.
Oh, wow.
And he's 419-79 with 3 state titles there.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, like, if you remember correctly, you mentioned Marist, I believe, a few years ago when we were in Atlanta for the SEC football media days. Our house was around the corner from Marist because it looks like a castle.
Yep. Yes, it is a super nice place. My buddy that coached at Rome High School, they played Marist last year. And, man, that's a tough-nosed, rich white boy option football team.
Yeah.
I mean, they will make you fight for every yard. They'll go out there and have the ball for 75% of the clock. So if you don't score, they make it really, really tough on you. I really thought that Chadwick should have been the replacement at Georgia Tech, the way he runs a triple option, but they ended up, going to something else because they're finally smart. And I saw Alabama basketball and SEC basketball. They're talking about going to 20 conference games because of the expansion of the conference.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out how many with non-conference and conference, how many games that going to put us at in the regular season overall.
That's a good question. I've seen the talk about them adding a couple of conference games and then going to 20. And Scott kind of talked about that yesterday. I don't know. That's a good question because I know much like there is in the Alabama High School Athletic Association, in the regular season you can play 30.
Right.
And you can play. There's a set number of tournaments you can play in, and you can play no more than 30 games. I would imagine there's going to be a set number in college basketball as well. If the SEC adds 2 more conference games.
What, the 20 games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what that
I have
number
a feeling,
would be.
though. I have a feeling they will go to 20.
Yeah.
I have a feeling they will, just because simply adding Texas and Oklahoma. I have a feeling they will.
Yeah, I mean, they could have already because they've already announced the conference slate. But, yeah, it's just something natural. I mean, because I think as John Rothstein reported that every other league is already kind of going by that model.
Yes. Yeah, the SEC, like we said yesterday, the SEC is the only one that plays 8 conference games on the gridiron.
Yeah.
And they're the only ones that play 18 on the hardwood.
Yeah. So.
Okay, I did not realize what the number was on the hardwood as far as basketball because I've never really examined that number. I'm expecting to get season tickets this year, so I was looking to see what the change was going to be. And as far as high school football goes, if you schedule a scrimmage with somebody and you call and cancel it on the Monday that you're supposed to scrimmage somebody, you're a pile of trash head coach. I'm not going to call any county names, but my son's high school, we were supposed to have an inter-squad scrimmage Friday night, and they call on Monday after all summer and say, we're not coming.
Well, I just checked this, Brandon. I was right. Terry Curtis is the winningest right now by 4 games. He's got 4 more wins than Paul Benefield. Paul Benefield is the second winningest active head coach, which is what I thought. I mean, I thought those were the 2 winningest. And then, of course, everybody knows Danny Horn, who has had a long career as well. And he is right behind those guys by about 5 wins. He's 5 wins behind, Paul Benefield. So, wait a minute. Let me double check that. I thought he was 5. Actually, he's tied. Let me correct myself with wins. Danny Horn tied with Paul Benefield for second. So, Buddy Anderson, who has retired, as we know, the longtime coach at Vestavia Hills, he is the one that's 5 behind those guys. But Danny Horn is tied with Paul Benefield, and Danny Horn is back at Clay County Central, which is he spent the majority of his career. He went to Benjamin Russell for a few years, but he's back at Clay County Central, which used to be Clay County, and he's got 351. Paul Benefield got 351, and then 355 for the great Terry Curtis. So those are the winningest coaches standing right now in the AHSAA.
Well, I couldn't believe when they were talking about the guy that's number 2 overall right now, Chadwick. Him and Larry Campbell from Lincoln County, Georgia, they done all of their stats at one school because Larry was at Lincoln County from 72 to 2013.
Yeah.
He went 477 and 85 with 11 state titles.
Gotcha.
Wow.
You just don't see guys staying at a school, single school for 40 years.
No, You don't. No. And
not anymore.
Nope. All right, Brandon, thanks for that phone call.
Appreciate
and you won't.
Bro.
And you're not going to, I don't think, in the high school level anymore, because I think the days of staying there 40 years.
It's tough.
It's tough now.
Well, and then the guy to watch as he continues to ramp it up. And he had a tremendous run starting in the early 90s at Cedar Bluff. And then he went to Piedmont and had a great run. And now he's gone into the private school sector at Westbrook Christian, and that program will continue to get better. Is Steve Smith. I mean, Coach Smith has done it. He's been on the show. He's done a tremendous job. He's going into this season. He's got 288 career wins. And so he will very shortly be in the 300 win plateau and then start climbing up to, and again, it's kind of what you just said, Scott, because the majority, when you look at this, top 10 or whatnot of guys have retired, and basically Steve Smith is still active, Terry Curtis, Paul Benefield, and Danny Horn. So, but Buddy Anderson, Walden Tucker, Jamie Riggs, Glenn Daniel, those guys have all retired. So, but Steve Smith is one to watch because he won at such a high clip at Piedmont and built a powerhouse. Did a great job at Cedar Bluff as well. And now going to Westbrook Christian, all those nice facilities they've built over there. And
there's a lot of external factors these days in high school athletics that we talk about on the college level, where NIL and everything is hurting college coaching because a lot of guys are getting frustrated with it. There's a lot of external factors on the high school ranks, whether it be basketball, whether it be football, whatever sports. There's external factors, and I think people know what those are. And it's stressing out a lot of coaches.
There's NIL on the high school level now. We talked about it because of Caleb Holt going to Grayson High School because of the change in the rule over there. And he just announced this week that he signed with Clutch Sports, which is LeBron James' agency. He's now part of their family. He was already there's already been a picture of him with Draymond Green, because I guess Draymond is a part of that umbrella with Clutch Sports. And so Caleb is now taking that next step, and that's just part of and there's a transfer portal in high school as well. I mean, seems like every day I'm reading about there's a big time D tackle going from Prattville to Parker High School. We talk about college coaches getting coach calls all the time. Yeah, high schools, these guys are getting calls all the time. Come play for me. Come play for me. Yeah, I mean,
not supposed to.
Right.
But you're getting calls all the time. It's happening out there, folks. And whether you want to believe it or not.
We've talked about it on the show that transferring is much more prevalent even in high school than it used to be.
All right, let's get a break in. I know Mark from Spring Hill's holding. Let's get a break in. When we get back, we're going to get to Mark from Spring Hill. All that and more. Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Looks like they've canceled the HEMSI units going to Moores Mill and Countess. Apparently that one's going to turn out to be a no injury. Got a new wreck in Guttersville, 431 northbound at Wythe Drive. Got 565 westbound at Greenbrier. Got 72 eastbound at Jefferson in Athens. Had 172 in Moores Mill with some eastbound blockage. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. You can make it safer for them. Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our sports med specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Oh, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Coming up here in a little bit, we got to hear from Mike Elko. We got to hear from Josh Heupel, Texas A&M and Tennessee. We'll hear from both of those coaches. Continue to get you ready for Alabama opening camp, Auburn opening camp as well.
Yep.
Got to get your phone calls. Got a lot to get through, but let's go out there. Mark from Spring Hill is with us. Good morning, Mark.
What's up, Mark?
Hey, morning, guys. Hey, I actually have a state championship ring when I helped coach with Kelvis White.
Oh yeah.
At Homewood in 2002.
Right.
Probably the best game, maybe. It's the best game I've ever been part of. In Legion Field, it was a cold night. Beat Russellville and Perry Swindle.
Yeah.
31-28, something like that. But what I was going to bring up is I came from Huffman before then, and Curtis Coleman. You guys may not have heard of Curtis, but
yeah, he was Andre Smith's coach. Yep.
Yes, Curtis. He's one of those guys that he could have been. He was great where he was, and he was. It's kind of like he was like Coach Saban says, "Be where your feet are." It was meant for him to be where he was, but he may have been the most, to me, watching him and what he did for those guys at Huffman. You look. I'm so glad you guys are talking about some high school coaches, because there's been some great ones, but Bob Newton, in my opinion. When
He's
I
a
left
Hall of
Huffman,
Famer. Yep, one of them. Yep,
yeah,
one of the best.
But what I couldn't believe is the athletes that Huffman had. I go over to Homewood and I look at their first practice, and people are telling me, "Yeah, this is a state champion team," and I'm looking. I said, "No way." I mean, I'll hardly see maybe three athletes out here, and that, him. I just couldn't believe that's a team, that went on to win the championship, and I think he won 6 at Homewood total. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of shout out to Bob Newton and Curtis, both great guys, but in different ways made a difference. And the only other thing I was going to ask real quick is, on Paul Feinbaum's show yesterday, there's a quarterback out of Illinois, Johnson, I believe, 6'5", or maybe 6'7", but there was a recruiting person on that said that he believes that he's going to Alabama on August the 3rd. Will make his announcement. I know you're the recruiting guy, on the station. Have you heard that too?
Well, I mean, I know Alabama's heavily involved with him, and he's the number one player, I think, in the 2026 class. So we'll see. I know Tennessee's also heavily involved. I know I've been hearing that he was very likely to make a public commitment. Now, all that said, there's a long way to go if you get a kid to commit that early. But yeah, I mean, I think Alabama, I think Tennessee, I think there's a few schools that are heavily involved with that young man, and I've been reading about him for, I don't know, I guess the last month or so, because he's been going on visits throughout the summer and decided he was going to very likely make an early decision. But again, it's non-binding, and I've already been joking, like we were talking about the big defensive lineman from Folsom, California, Josiah Sharma. He shocked everybody by committing to Oregon when everybody thought he was going to go to Texas. Well, it didn't take but 3 weeks, and he's already flipped to Texas. So some of these commitments, look at Antonio Coleman.
I was just going to say that's the one I was going to use. Yes,
he's already flipped, 4 times, and he was at media day yesterday in Mobile and talking about how his recruitment's completely shut down now. But I mean, yeah. But I mean,
What do you think? You think it's going to be to the highest bidder? I mean, and eventually that'll hurt the fan base because we'll get to sort of like,
Mark, it's already to the highest bidder.
Yeah, I mean, it's
in some cases now, and I hate to say it, in some in a handful, not majority, but in a handful of the athletes right now, it already is to the highest bidder.
Well, if I can make one more comment, I'll let you go.
Yeah, sure.
Great
go
show.
ahead.
Great show. Coach Saban, as he left and everything, I know there's lots of reasons why he left, but one of them, I wonder if it's that he just wasn't going to, he didn't want to coach in an environment or in an era that was like that, and he wanted to go fix it.
No, I think so. I think Mike Krzyzewski at Duke, I think he walked away from the game. Roy Williams walked away from the game. They were getting close to their time anyway, but I think this expedited the process. Jay Wright is another one, yes. And I think Nick Saban was in the same way as well. And he even made reference. Nick Saban even made reference to it. The fact that it was hard for him this past season to kind of relate at times to push those buttons for the players to get them to go in certain directions.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And a lot of that was NIL related.
I think a lot of it has been. I mean, it wasn't the only reason Nick Saban retired. We've talked about it ad nauseum. There was a handful of reasons, but certainly this changing landscape and Nick Saban made comment about it when he went public with his retirement that, and his wife went public as well about how, we did it for certain reasons for as long as we did, but now you meet with players after the season and their first questions are, am I going to start and how much are you going to pay me? So,
right.
So that's why there has to be some guardrails put up. I was telling somebody this last night, and it piggybacks off of what Mark Stoops said early in the week. Like, it's not sustainable to have everybody on 1-year contracts and you have to pay guys every year. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. There's got to be some sort of checks and balances to it, to where there's a length of contract or something. Like, it shouldn't be free agent after a year every year where you're renegotiating or you're trying to get even more money. Because look, the NFL wouldn't survive if it was that way.
Right.
Where you're having to pay guys every year and there's going to be free agency and it's going to be just a landmine every year. Like, in other words, head coaches in the NFL, there'd be guys getting fired even more so because guess what? Well, you didn't reach the playoffs. You didn't go to the Super Bowl. Now your entire team's free agents and they could bail after the season. I mean, it's not sustainable and it's not going to be, and they've got to do something to get the game fixed.
I just saw Arthur swinging on a, it was Jungle Arthur. It was Amazon Arthur.
Amazon Arthur.
All right. 7:28. I tell you what, let's get a break in, because when we come back, we'll check in with the Tennessee Vols. We'll check in with the Texas A&M Aggies, and we'll continue to get you ready for Alabama and Auburn opening day of fall camp. Oh boy, we've just only begun.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be possible across the Tennessee Valley through the heart of the afternoon, early into the evening. Most of us probably going to end up staying dry. The big story, the fact that it's just going to be incredibly hot across the area. Air temperatures are going to climb into the mid-90s, but it is going to feel like it is anywhere between 105 and 109 degrees. We only drop into the mid and upper 70s as we head into the overnight. We're going to do this again as we head into your Thursday. A partly sunny sky, temperatures climbing into the mid-90s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Had a wreck with injuries reported Moores Mill and Countess. It sounds like nobody's going to the hospital from that one. Trying to clear one eastbound on 72 at Moores Mill, one in Athens, eastbound on 72 at Jefferson, 565 westbound at Greenbriers working. It's off to the right side of the road. And we've got one in Guntersville, 431 northbound at Wythe Drive. With more than 30 years experience, D&L Refrigeration can save you money on those heating and air conditioning repairs. 256 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Are you feeling tired? Are you feeling sluggish? Gentlemen, Game Day Men's Health. Game Day Men's Health is here to help you. Braden is here. Braden, you've got the answers.
Thanks, Scott. Whether it's low T, erectile dysfunction, weight loss, or a number of other things, we have a solution for them.
It's Game Day Men's Health. Give them a call today at
256-850-1570.
You can find them online.
GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Hey, what man wouldn't like to have tests done in a man cave?
That's right. Come in for your free test and consultation, walk into a world-class staff, a comfortable, relaxed environment, and we got your results in about 20 minutes with appointments less than an hour.
And the big game is always on the TV. It's Game Day Men's Health. Give them a call.
256-850-1570.
You can find them online at GameDayMen'sHealth.com/Huntsville/The Zone.
At Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, we love baseball almost as much as we love serving up the best and baddest burgers around. People have called our burgers totally insane. And at Bad Daddy's, we take that as a compliment. But it's not just burgers. Up first, starters like our fried pickles, wings, or poblano frites. Second, try one of Bad Daddy's giant chopped salads. Third, our famous chef-inspired burgers with lots of different taste options. And before you head home, finish up with one of our shakes or delicious banana pudding. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar on the Parkway in Huntsville and Clift Farm in Madison.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC. You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
There you go. Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond, welcome back into the program on a Wednesday morning. Alabama starts camp today around the league. Other schools starting camp as well. Tennessee getting started on Rocky Top.
Yep.
Josh Heupel talking about Nico's growth as a
Speaking of the highest bidder.
I thought during the bowl game, for him to take it from the practice field to the game, for the game, it really just slowed down for him during the course of the game. He had great command during that. I think that speaks volume about him as a player and understanding what we're doing. He's been very urgent, worked hard, understanding, what we're doing offensively, defensive schemes, the ability to control everything from the run game to protections to checks that we have inside of our offense. He's got a great understanding of that. He's a young player. He's got one start underneath him. We expect him to play at a really high level right from the jump. But there's going to be a growth and maturation for him as a player inside of what we're doing as well.
And so Josh Heupel there brings up some good points there about Nico. I know Tennessee fans are all excited because he came into the bowl game. He played. He had I don't know how many touchdowns.
Lit up your Hawkeyes.
Yep. But the thing of it is starting in a bowl game where Iowa had 3 defensive players out, they had opt-outs, the offense was atrocious. It's like you can't judge a lot from a bowl game.
Right.
So now Nico is going to be starting a full season. First time starting a full season. He's going to have to go on the road in the SEC. He's going to have to play. I mean, he is going to have adversity. He has not had adversity like he had in the bowl game. So there are people out there that say, okay, look, this guy can be as good as Bryce Young and on the college level, even better than a Bryce Young. Should we got to temper
Bryce Young went number 1 overall, won the Heisman.
I'm saying there are people that believe that Nico is that generational talent. This is the most hyped quarterback that we've seen at Tennessee since Peyton Manning.
Yeah, it is. He is the most hyped. I will say that. I mean, we'll see if he's better than Hendon Hooker, because Hendon Hooker was awfully good. People forget that already.
Right.
But and Hendon, that kind of came out of nowhere because he was a transfer portal addition from Virginia Tech and was a solid player there, but I don't think anybody saw Hendon nearly getting Tennessee to the playoff and doing what he did. And there's no question that that injury that year severely affected Tennessee. Now, they were already going to lose to South Carolina that day. I mean, they just played poorly. But, I mean, his impact that season, he had the best year since Peyton Manning. Now, Nico Iamaleava, yeah, I mean, he was a 5-star talent. He's been he'll be the most hyped. He has even more hype, tons more than Hendon Hooker did. And, we'll see if they have as good a supporting cast. I'm not as convinced that they do, because people forget that the production Tennessee got with Cedric Tillman, Jalen Hyatt. They had some big-time receivers that really kind of stepped up in Heupel's system.
Right.
We'll see. We'll ask Vince Ferrara about that later in the show. But do they have those guys on the team now that, is Brew McCoy that dude? I don't know. I've been impressed with him at times, but at times, and he's a former 5-star himself, but he hasn't proven to be that guy. And so we'll see. Now, the Mike Matthews, he's a 5-star freshman. Is he going to be a guy that can evolve and make an impact like that and become a first-round draft choice, or have what I guess would say first-team All-American type kind of year? Because Tillman and Hyatt, I know the funny thing about both of them is they kind of came out of nowhere to be good, because
right. No, you're right.
Neither one of them early in their careers had done a lot, and then all of a sudden, boom, they explode. Is somebody going to do that for Tennessee?
How good does Nico have to be to lead Tennessee to the playoffs?
To the playoffs, he's got to be a first-team All-American. I mean, period, end of story. But I'm not as convinced that Tennessee's defense is going to be good enough to get them there. But first of all, they have no shot if Nico Iamaleava is not playing at a first-team All-SEC, All-American type level, and if he's not healthy. He's got to play well, because, look, I mean, everybody's seen the way Josh Heupel's teams play football. They ran the ball well last year, no question. Jalen Wright had 1,000 yards, had a great year, but they've got to they have to get production out of the quarterback position. And the reason they slipped back a little bit last year is Joe Milton was not a consistent guy. And to me, that's why Tennessee took a jump under Heupel, is because of what they were able to do with Hendon Hooker and how much better he got and how good he was. Because let's not misunderstand anything. Hendon Hooker was a Heisman candidate. I mean, even if he hadn't got hurt, I don't think he was going to win it, but he was on the short list. He played like a first-team All-American that year, and that's why Tennessee had a chance to make the playoff. They were going to fall just short because they came out flat against South Kakalaki.
Yes.
But still, they were in the mix, and nobody had them in the mix going into that season. Nobody sure as hell had them beating Alabama, but they did because of the way he played. He was unbelievable, and that's what Tennessee is going to need this year. They're going to need Nico Iamaleava to have a Hendon Hooker type year and be a first-team All-America type guy, and to be on the short list for the Heisman Trophy. I mean, the old adage used to be in the Heisman, well, unless you're you've been around, and unless you're a sophomore or a junior, especially a junior, you can't win it. But that's totally out the window now. We've already seen Johnny Boy do it as a redshirt freshman. Guys do it at a young age now, early in their careers. I mean, Bryce Young was a sophomore, so you can. It's easy to that's out the window now about how you have to be an older guy to win the Heisman Trophy.
Yes.
That's done. So he can be a Heisman candidate this year, can Nico Iamaleava, and if he is, then Tennessee has a chance to make the playoff. Now,
well, you say that name. I'm just going to say this. You say that better than Chris Fowler or our good friend. Reese Davis does on, or Chris Fowler does on College Game Day or whatever the video game thing is.
Oh, you mean NCAA 25?
Yeah, you say that a whole lot better than he does.
That's Chris Fowler.
You say it a whole lot better than he does.
Yeah,
you actually say it right.
Yeah, so and again, I'm one of the few people in America that hasn't played it, but I've been out of the game.
I just gonna let you know that you actually say it right.
But
here's Josh Heupel though on taking a step back last year.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of that was red zone efficiency in the red zone, penalties in the red zone. We got to be better. We've been intentional in our work throughout the course of spring ball. But we got to come back. We got to be a smarter team, be more efficient and effective in that area.
That's Josh Heupel on offensive struggles last year and why they took a step back in some areas. Let's go to Richard real fast on the phone lines. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
Hey, one thing on Brandon was talking about, I think college basketball is limited to 32 games and then possibly, a tournament, a conference tournament game, except if you're in the Big Ten or the ACC where they've limited the teams. But I think it's 32 games. So basically you're going to have two less non-conference.
If you play the 20.
Play, I think everybody's limited to 32. So you'll have two less, conference games. And I would assume, the SEC's trying to get, get those games. You probably make more money if you're on ESPN versus Tennessee versus Slippery Rock on whatever the second tier SEC network is, where you watch it on the internet. So they're probably trying to get a handful more of primetime TV games, because you'll have probably a couple of conference games in December
right
out. So like I said, there is a limit of how many you can schedule.
There is, and I think And they put, I want to say a couple of years ago, they put a limit into like how many preseason of these like NIT tournaments you can play in, because teams were playing in a bunch of them and racking up the games. And there was an outcry from these preseason tournaments, because it was like, wait a minute, if you're going to cap them, then a lot of these are going to go away. And so I remember something like that back in the day.
Yeah. One thing, too, is they've changed the rules, but teams can play inter-squad games out of, basically off-site and exhibition games. So, possibility, in Huntsville, you may have an inter-squad game or even an exhibition game with Alabama or even Auburn this year.
Right.
So, they just changed the rule during the summer, because I saw Kentucky's playing TCU in Dallas and Kansas somewhere, out. So they've had a couple of big exhibition games, but you can do inter-squad games too now offside.
Yeah, and I think, and there was talk about doing away with the secret scrimmages and making them not secret anymore, and just because they're doing it anyway,
right?
And so the NCAA was just, I think there was a push to, just call it what it is, an exhibition game, instead of making it a quote unquote secret scrimmage.
And like I said, the one change is you can do it, you can do the exhibition, the secret scrimmage could be anywhere. Like Alabama played TCU at Stanford last year, but you couldn't attend.
Right.
But like I said, now, you could have Alabama versus, UAB in Huntsville.
Yeah.
it's an exhibition or somebody. So there's a possibility, they may be in town for, like I said, an inter-squad game or a exhibition game, depending on, I guess the Huntsville Sports Commission and whatever Alabama wants to do. So.
Yeah, and no question with that, Richard, that I think it's a good move, and I think it's something that these scrimmages, especially with the booming popularity of Alabama basketball, Auburn doing well, I think those events would be well attended, and I think with Bucky McMillan and what he's doing at Samford, if they played somebody and scrimmage someone, that there'd probably be a lot of excitement around that and people wanting to attend it.
So the record for games, I believe, was UConn back in 2011. They played 41 basketball games.
Gotcha.
Well, you got six in the NCAA tournament to win it all, and in your conference tournament.
Yeah.
If you're in the, if you start out on a Tuesday, you might have to win 5 games. Depending on, how bad you are in the regular season. You got to win a lot more games.
Yeah.
So
back in 2020, the NCAA had something, and they mess things up so bad sometimes, but they would let teams participate in 29 or schedule 29 regular season games while participating in an MTE, which is a multiple team event.
Yeah.
And then that has up to 2 games for a total of 31 after scheduling options. So, but they could play in. So, the NCAA is, they've got all these things out there. So if you play in a couple, that's why a lot of teams only play in one MTE now, a multiple team event.
Correct.
Yep.
You also want home games too, because you usually make more money probably on a home game than you do.
Oh, by far.
Brandon was talking about Marist. I used to live in Atlanta, and I'm sure your private schools and probably in Huntsville do the same thing, but they did a great job of, you had the Falcon, kids from the former Falcon players, Georgia players, Georgia Tech, being unpaid assistants, on the team. So they would, really have, I don't know how much these guys help, but I know where I used to work, the president or the owner was a former Georgia Tech player. Put it this way, I think he went to more Marist practices and helped out than I saw him in the office. So.
That's funny.
But his son was on the team. But these guys had their sons on the team, and and they let them help out. But you always would hear about like Mike Kenn's son, a lot of these former Falcon players and Georgia Tech players.
Yeah.
Helping out while their kids were in school over there at Marist. So getting, I guess, free upper level coaching there. So.
Mm-hmm. All right, Richard. Thanks for the phone call, bud.
Okay. See you guys later.
All right. 7:48. What do you say we get this final break in of hour number 1? Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a wreck reporting on 565 westbound near County Line. It looks like they've now moved that vehicle, so that one may not be a factor for traffic at all. At 565 near Madison Boulevard, also reporting. I don't have a direction reported on that one. Had one in Guntersville, 431 northbound at Wythe Drive. And that wreck at Moores Mill and Countess that reported as an injury type should be clear now. No hose, no mask. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Listen to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond.
He's great for his era. He's not the greatest of all time. You have to compare all these people. You can't compare Wilkinson, Jim Becker, all these other coaches. He's not the greatest of all time. I'm sorry. Period.
If he coached for Kentucky, he certainly would be.
No, he wouldn't be the greatest.
Yes, he would. Yes, he would, Jeff. If he coached for Kentucky, just like when you love the volleyball national championship that you rode for a year and a half. Oh, Lord.
They've won 7 SEC titles in a row. 7 straight. They're going for 8 this year.
The greatest Kentucky football coach in history is Coach Paul Bryant. He also happens to be, along with Nick Saban, the 2 greatest coaches in college football history.
Fox News.
Yeah, he might, but he hadn't won any championships, brother, and he's never going to.
There you go. There you go. Get it in.
He's never going to, ever.
Every weekday morning, wake up with Scott and Drew. It's Talkin' Ball on 97.7 The Zone.
Next time you're online looking for landscaping inspiration, open Instagram and check out Southern Gent Landscaping. They can help make your yard your dream outdoor oasis. Southern Gent Landscaping can handle it all, from landscape maintenance and installation to irrigation and hardscapes, even AstroTurf. Turn your yard into a landscape you'll be proud to show off. Call Southern Gent Landscaping at 256-509-6088. 509-6088. Southern Gent Landscaping. Professional landscaping performed with satisfaction guaranteed. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Stan McDonald. Stan, tell everybody why you're the best damn dirt lawyer in North Alabama.
Yes, Wes, at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. You know I'm a dirt lawyer, and a lot of our friends know that, which means we specialize in real estate. Now, if you own real estate or you're buying it or you're selling it, you need to do a closing, but a lot of times there's legal issues associated with that. We're a great group to talk to. My son, Lewis McDonald, heads our commercial closing division, and we approach your real estate needs very seriously. We seek to be the premier real estate closing company in North Alabama, and we do it in such a way it shows that we're experienced, we're for your success. We like to handle your real estate needs the same way Coach Dan Reeves used to say, never let them see you sweat. And that's going to be to your benefit, too, when you visit us at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. Our website online is jacobtitle.com.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, welcome back into the program. Welcome back into the show. 256-576-4977. You can always be a part of the program this morning. We heard from Josh Heupel there in the bottom of the hour. We'll hear from Mike Elko in hour number 2 as we talk Texas A&M and Connor Wiegman. What do they expect from him at quarterback?
Trying to get him healthy, too.
That's a big thing. Let's go out to the phone lines. Jeff from the Borough is with us. Good morning, Jeff.
Preps Cup standings were released yesterday, and school in Birmingham finished top 5. Mountain Brook, they won 9 state titles this season. I'm sure y'all know about them.
Yeah, Mountain Brook.
Yeah, they won like 3 in the fall, 2 in the winter, and 4 in the spring. So they finished top 5 in the whole country, or top 100. They were number 5 in the country, the whole United States. So
that's
I'm
good.
sure they are a very rich. After they have some great athletic facilities, I'm sure, don't they, Drew?
Yeah, they do. If you're talking about Mountain Brook, yeah, they recently upgraded some things too. That school system operates, by itself, and Mountain Brook City Schools, and they have it's an affluent area, and they have outstanding facilities, outstanding athletics, and no question. I've been in the basketball arena because Huntsville High played over there a couple years ago in the Thanksgiving tournament. It's really nice. I know they've done some improvements recently, I think, to their playing surface too at the football facility. The football field is a little bit interesting because they only have basically stands on one side.
Real good, yeah.
Yeah, they've only, and so but again, Chris Yeager does a great job. They've got really nice facilities and just about everything. So yeah, Mountain Brook, it's a really good athletics department, really good athletic program, and they've been, Lee Gann's been the baseball coach for a long time. They've been good. I mean, they compete at a high level in pretty much every sport.
Yeah, and then of those two too, another one's mother from Alabama in the top 50. Hoover finished 42nd. They won 5-6 state championships this year.
Yeah,
they finished 42nd out of 100. So they were 42. So out of the top 100. So it's pretty good for state of Alabama having two ranked that high. And then Scottsboro was 47. So that's 3 in the top 50. That's pretty good for state of Alabama. So
yeah, no doubt.
That's pretty good. So well, hang in there, guys. See you.
Thanks. Jeff giving us a high school update there.
Well, I mean, Jeff, he
follows that Director's Cup, doesn't he?
He does a good job. He knows his stuff in high school.
I didn't even know there was a thing.
I mean, I've never really thought there was, but I mean, but
I know there was on the college level.
But I know that Mountain Brook is strong. I mean, they emphasize athletics, and there's no question that they're very, very good in just about everything that they compete in. And so, great school over there, great folks, and certainly we've had Tyler Davis on many times on the show, and his son Ty is going to be a freshman at Creighton. He'll be starting for Greg McDermott, so he's hopefully going to have a great career over there. So that's another young man to follow that won a state championship at Mountain Brook, and and also he played in back-to-back championships against Buckhorn. Came up short in both of those, but still, while during his time at Mountain, Tyler Davis, he's done a great job filling the shoes of Bucky McMillan. That's not easy to do because they expect you to win at the highest level every year, but he's done a great job continuing a winning culture for Mountain Brook basketball.
All right, 256-576-4977. That's how you can join us coming up here in just a little bit. And I say just a little bit, about ready to be done with hour number 1 here on a Wednesday. Vince Ferrara is going to join us at the top of the hour. And then Bill Shanks will join us at the bottom of the hour. The Major League Baseball trade deadline has come. It is gone. Some Braves fans feeling kind of Some Braves fans feeling
kind of feel like there wasn't anything else. I mean, after the solar power and Luke Jackson, I mean, that was interesting. But what happened?
All right, let's go to Sean. See, that works just as easy. There we go. Sean is with us this morning. Good morning, Sean.
What's up, man?
Well, he may know his stuff about high school football, basketball, and everything else, but he damn sure don't know nothing about a college coach.
Yeah, you're talking about what he said yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
The clip that'll live in infamy. Yeah.
Nick Saban, he ain't the greatest of all time.
He just says that stuff just to get a rise out of people. I'm not even sure he even believes it. You know
I
what I'm
think he
saying?
believes it.
It's like one day he's smoking Marlboros and he has a decent little conversation that's actually worth something, and then the next day he's smoking crack and makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord, yesterday when I heard that, I was driving down the road and I literally about run off the road when I heard him say that. I was like, did he really say that?
Oh, I know.
Oh, he did. He did. But I mean, and part of me thinks he really believes it, and part of me thinks that, I mean, he's.
Oh, he don't believe that crap. There's no way. No way. But either way, I mean, it's getting close to football season.
Yes,
it is.
When does high school kick off?
The 23rd is really going to be.
What I thought.
And there are going to be some jamborees or whatever on the week
16th.
before. I think Huntsville High's got one because they didn't have a spring game or whatever. So yeah, it's there. But I can't
believe that y'all said that. That Huntsville schools start back tomorrow.
Yeah,
Huntsville
start back ours don't start back till the 6th.
Wow.
Yeah. So y'all got
all
an
right,
extra
Shane,
week.
thanks for that. Yeah, Huntsville, Madison County, Madison City, they're all cranking it back up tomorrow.
Well, Jimmy Lay said that he's been trying to get his kids ready for it. They're not very happy.
Hey, Trent Richardson's back in football.
Yep, I heard that a while back. He's going to be the Hoover running backs coach.
All right, hour 2 kicking off next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Team USA men's basketball takes on South Sudan today at the Paris Olympics. Joel Embiid ready for a battle.
South Sudan, they're quick. They shoot the ball really well. They play hard.
The U.S. favored by 29.5. Teams were busy at the baseball trade deadline on Tuesday. The Padres acquired all-star reliever Tanner Scott from Miami. The Padres also get right-hander Brian Hoeing. In exchange, Miami gets lefty Robbie Snelling, right-hander Adam Mazur, infielder Graham Pauley, and infielder Jay Bashirs. The Dodgers landed Jack Flaherty from the Tigers. The Dodgers are a plus 300 betting favorite to win the World Series. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Of course, it is hour 2. It means SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center helping us make this hour possible, or this segment possible. 256-881-5151. You too can experience the SportsMed difference. They're dedicated to providing care that improves lives, including the Rocket City Trash Pandas and the UAH Chargers, both of which you can hear right here over the airways. UAH 97.7 ESPN The Zone, the Rocket City Trash Pandas on Talk Radio WZZN. Vince Ferrara expected to join us here in a little bit. He's a very, very, very busy man. So he's finishing up his stuff.
He's probably finishing his show just for a second.
Right.
He told me last night that he could join it at 9:00, which is, of course, at his time. That's
he's going to get a sip of water
on Eastern time. That's because a lot of times he joins us at
bottom of the hour.
At 8:30. Which is. He'll say 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central. But he told me last night, 9:00 Eastern, which is 8:00 Central. And again, just give him a couple minutes. He's wrapping up his show.
He needs to get a little sip of some go-go juice.
Yeah, and I mean, he's in Tampa right now, too. He's been back home.
He was at the Bucks practice for a little bit.
Yeah,
he dropped by Tampa Bay's practice.
Because I told him last night, I said, dude, I need some of your mom's arancini, because he put pictures of that.
Posting some good food pictures online. Woo,
I said, your mom must be a legend, like the way she can cook. He's been eating all these home-cooked meals.
Oh, I've been
saw
seeing
that
some
too.
of them. Yes,
all the desserts and all that kind of stuff. So,
Vince been eating good.
Vince will join us when he wraps up his show, and we'll talk to Vince Ferrara. But yeah, man, it's crazy. Some of that food, the dessert looked unbelievable too, man. I mean, his mother's just a machine. But
Oh, anyway, Vince Ferrara going to join us here momentarily.
Right.
Tennessee it was a big day in Knoxville yesterday.
Right.
As the Vols had their media day. And so Josh Heupel was available. Nico was available. Other players were available yesterday. So it was a very busy day there in Tennessee camp. And Vince Ferrara is now with us.
Yeah, he is. You can hear him every morning on the Sports Animal. 99.1, we saw him in Dallas. And, man, he got there even earlier than us because he had to be on the air a full hour before we did. And he was a trooper, man. He's on, as we said, for 3 hours each morning, and he's on from 5 to 8, in our time, and he's grinding every day with John Wilkerson, and he's been kind enough to join us live from Tampa, Florida, but also probably still doing his show remotely because that's what we do in the radio business. But it's great to have Vince Ferrara on to talk some Tennessee fall camp. Vince, it was great to see you in Dallas, man. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Hope you guys had a great show. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was good to see you guys as well. I appreciate it. Yeah, Dallas was interesting. I don't know when we're going back there for media days, if at all, but it presented its challenges, but had some cool aspects of it also. And I thought Texas and Oklahoma blended in really well. So yeah, definitely, in Tampa, although I am taking some time off this week. So, but making time for you guys to be on with you.
Yeah, hey, man. Yeah. It's good that you're getting a chance to take a step away because, as you all know, you've been in the business a long time, just like we have. Once football season starts, man, there's no rest for the weary when it gets cranked.
Right. No doubt about it. And, I'm overlapping missing the first few days of camp, but if we don't get it in now, you're right. It's not going to happen. So we'll get into the daily grind. Didn't get a chance to, listen to the interviews from yesterday. Had sort of a media day before camp starts here this morning. Should be underway maybe minutes ago. This is the week for it to get cranked up. And the good thing about Tennessee, and I think I may have mentioned this to you guys before, is that Tennessee makes a lot of people available. I mean, they had a big media day with a bunch of players, like 4 at a time, and then they just send waves of players. And they made both coordinators, in addition to Josh Heupel, available. They'll rotate out all the assistants maybe twice through preseason camp. So we do get a lot of access from that standpoint, not necessarily in viewing interesting parts of practice, but we do get a lot of interviews to try to get some info that way as well.
Before we delve into the expectations, because we talked a little bit about Nico there in hour number 1. Your fishing skills were on point, though, the other day for your birthday. Your fishing skills were on point.
I'm definitely a rookie. I don't think I'll be hosting any fishing shows anytime soon. We have a lot of specials on our show. I don't know. There's Golf Talk, still hosted by Jimmy Himes. I don't know if I'm doing fishing talk anytime soon, but it was a lot of fun off of Paso Grill, which is right there near St. Pete Beach. That weather's perfect, so got to get some family time in. So it was cool. I appreciate you asking.
Yeah, well, and we'd be remiss. We kind of talked about it off the top of the show because we're kind of frustrated with the Hall of Fame game because Caleb Williams won't even be playing in it. So why are they even putting it on TV? How did the Bucs look? I mean, they're kind of been flying under the radar. I know that they've moved on from Tom Brady. We all know what they had a pretty good year last year. How did the Bucs look? What are the expectations for them?
And hearing a lot of Bucs fans talk before I got to that first practice on Sunday, the practice that I got a chance to see them, everyone's putting it on Baker Mayfield. Yeah. And I do think that he is the biggest key. Look, the season was in peril last year. They put those beautiful throwback creamsicle uniforms on and then got beat by the Lions, and then they were at risk of losing to the Panthers, one of the worst teams, I guess maybe the worst in the NFL. And so they turned things around in that game, and that was kind of the season turner. And then Mayfield played well, and Rashad White, a lot of guys played well. So my opinion of them is probably right there in the mix for the NFC South. Them and the Falcons and maybe the Saints in contention. My opinion didn't change a whole lot. I do think that they're an improved team from last year, but not drastically improved to where I look at them as a Super Bowl contender. So that's what I saw from them. But here's the biggest thing that stood out about Bucs practice, guys, is that thing is a country club compared to an SEC football practice. With the NFL,
yeah.
Seriously, with the NFL new rules and they limit padded practices, and I think you only get like, I don't know, 16, something like that. And during the season, you only get like 16. There might be like 12 before the season, and then they do nothing in the off season with OTAs. The contact is very limited, and that's why you see a lot of shoddy tackling early in the year. So it's a lot of standing around. It's a lot of sort of walkthroughs, and they weren't in full pads yet, but man, it is nothing like the intensity and the tempo of SEC practices, including Tennessee.
Speaking of Tennessee, we asked this question in hour 1. How good does Nico have to be for Tennessee to get into the playoffs?
I think he has to be what I think he has the ability to do, and that's be a top 4 to 5 quarterback in the SEC.
Mm.
And 4 is an ask because, as you guys know, there's some really accomplished returning quarterbacks in this league. But I think he has the ability to be that. Now, that's to put them in contention for a playoff. They still have to have some other things go well, one including health, because there's certain positions where they, including quarterback, where they don't have the depth to overcome some injuries. The D line is one position that they do.
Yes.
But there's some other teams in this league that are at the top that are a little bit more built to handle losses to starters. Tennessee does in some positions, but not all of them. So I think health would be one, and I think they can't be really bad on the back end for them to even with Nico being that level of quarterback. So I think that's a key component. It's the biggest one, but they also have to be pretty good in some other areas and then stay healthy. But I think that's the level for Tennessee to be in that playoff contention.
Well, and then as far as we know, Brew missed the majority of the year last year injured. He was banged up. He's had some tough luck throughout his entire career, honestly, and he's had a roller coaster ride with the transfers and everything. How healthy, though, is the team going into camp? I mean, are they? I know Coach Heupel that's you just addressed the depth situation in certain areas, but are they a relatively healthy team, or is there some nagging injuries that they're trying to get over?
There are a few. Overall, I wouldn't say that they're injury riddled by any means. They're not 100% healthy either.
Right.
The biggest questions are there's a number of players coming back from injury.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Brew McCoy is one of them. He's supposedly full speed. I imagine, though, even though he's cleared and he'll be practicing, there probably going to be some rep management in practice for him. Javonte Spraggins is another one. Their starting right guard who's a multi-year starter. He's coming back from surgery. Josh Heupel wasn't asked about him specifically yesterday, so we'll see what he does today. And then Keenan Peely coming back from his injury. Now we talked to him in media days. I thought he did an awesome job there. He's full go from what everyone has said. So I expect him to also, even if he is fully healthy, maybe there might be some rep management with him just a little bit. Another aspect of it is the running back situation. It's probably the area that's the biggest question mark with health. And that's their number 2 and number 3 running back. Cameron Seldon, who flashed really well, bigger back as a freshman last year in the bowl game. And then also with a true freshman in Peyton Lewis, a high 4-star that a lot of people wanted around the SEC. He didn't participate in the spring. And Josh Heupel said Lewis is a little bit ahead of Seldon. And then Heupel said it before at media days. He said that they were on track, for the season. But then yesterday he said, hopefully be on track for sometime early in the season. So that's a little bit different timeline. That's a very thin position if they don't have 1 or 2 of those guys. So that's an area to keep an eye on in terms of health.
Josh Heupel, we heard from him a little bit ago, and he said, hey, look, one of the problems last year was the fact that our red zone offense was inconsistent.
Yeah.
We had a lot of little penalties and stuff, and just little inconsistencies there that kind of held us back. Those are things that we have to overcome this year.
Yeah, and they'll be doing a lot of situational stuff. And look, that'll be a test of the football IQ and the accuracy of Nico Iamaleava. And I think that a lot of fans' expectation is those things get fixed with Nico. I kind of tend to agree, to be honest with you, because with Joe Milton, he wasn't super quick twitch. So if he has to make a decision or a throw, it was a little bit more deliberate, just a split second. And you don't have time for that in that red zone with the kind of athlete that you're playing week in, week out in the Southeastern Conference. So I think Nico plus the running threat that he presents to the table, his overall quick release, I think he can help in a lot of those areas. Now, a part of that also, when you get down there, you got to be able to convert on short yardage in the run game. And that has been something that it was a little bit better last year, but that's something they still need to take another step on. And how do you take a step on that? Is it the run threat of Nico? Is it formationally? Is it with tempo? Because at times they really slow down in the red zone, where I kind of like to see them keep their tempo in the red zone at times. But they want to make sure they're in the right place. That's something that I thought last year was another byproduct of Joe Milton, is they would slow things down just to make sure that the play was being run right, protection. So all that. With Nico, they may not have to do that. So that might give them an advantage of just keeping that tempo up more often, and then be able to get more success in converting on short yardage. Get to the line, run the play, whether it's a QB sneak or run between the tackles or whatever. They even did some fullback eye stuff in the bowl game, which they never do. So, but I think the tempo will help. So I think it starts with the quarterback, and then the trust in him will lead to maybe more success in those areas. But it's going to be a focus of Cam. There's no doubt.
Well, Vince, finally, before we let you go, we appreciate the time. Scott and I kind of debated this because Hendon Hooker had an underrated career at Tennessee. He ended up becoming a great player, a Heisman candidate, a guy that I thought had the best single season since, Peyton Manning when he wrapped up his Tennessee career. And yet there's probably, would you say there's even more hype with Nico Iamaleava?
Definitely. And that's part of that is recruiting. He was signed as the NIL guy.
Yeah.
Originally committed and then signed as the NIL guy. And he hasn't acted like a diva. He was okay with not playing last year and, not being the starter, and learning and developing and putting on weight, which is a key aspect of it. He has a good understanding of the big picture. He's more mature than a typical second-year quarterback, especially one that's been in the limelight like he has. So fans, I think, have been endeared and been following him from the jump. But now they hear about him as the guy. Now they believe in him even more. Hey, Hendon Hooker exploded onto the scene when they didn't start off that season well, and Milton got hurt, and then took off from there. And then the more they learned about him, the more they loved him. And there will always be a great appreciation for him. But the buildup with a 5-star quarterback is just different, to have more people on board from the jump. So yeah, I think from a hype standpoint, for sure, if he becomes a Hendon Hooker type player with all of that leading up to it, man, just another level superstar in Tennessee history that fans just cannot wait to be able to embrace and brag about if it plays out.
Well, Vince, continue to enjoy the time away. I know the grind is going to begin as Tennessee's fall camp. You'll be back at it, but let everybody know how to connect with you. And you wear so many hats with Sports Radio 991, the Sports Animal, and of course, you and John do a great job.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, and the football grind is, a pregame interview on the Vol Network with a pregame player, and then also high school football. Can't wait to get back to that in a couple of weeks. So, yeah, it's all football all the time, but we love it. And yeah, you can follow me on all the socials, Vince Sports, VINCE Sports. You can see some examples, as you guys have, of my mom's cooking. So that's on all the socials.
By the way, it looks good.
Yes.
Really good.
You got the Scott Tyson seal of approval.
I looked at some of those and I was like, okay.
Yeah, the dessert was unreal too. Wow.
It doesn't, the photos don't even do it justice, let me tell you. But yeah, I'll stop torturing you guys on that. But you can check us out on all the socials, Vince Sports, and then we have a show handle on all the socials as well, Sports Talk on 991. So I appreciate you guys. And we get back to Mom's cooking now, if you guys are cool with that.
Oh yeah, you're very cool. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
appreciate
Vince. Vince Ferrara, kind enough to join us from Florida.
Yeah,
where he's been fishing and eating Mama's cooking.
Yeah, a lot of Mama's cooking.
It
looks very good. Check out at Vince Sports.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
When I saw that last night, I thought when Scott sees this.
Oh, I've been seeing it. I was like,
Yeah.
man, whoo.
That Aaron Cheney, legit.
Made my little salad look like crap. All right, let's get a break in. More Talking Ball when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Still seeing some problems coming out of Athens, 72 westbound at Jefferson Street. And we got 565 at Madison Boulevard still being reported. Had a wreck in Guntersville, 431 northbound at Wythe Drive. That one should be pretty well cleared up now. Expert Heart Care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialists on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
You know, this process is all about talking ball.
Listen to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond.
What did they want privacy for? To just start talking ball.
Every weekday morning, wake up with Scott and Drew. It's Talkin' Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It's worth it.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond. And talked a little Tennessee there because Tennessee getting underway with Media Day yesterday. Another school underway would be the Texas A&M Aggies. They have sat down and have met with, I should say, Mike Elko has met with reporters. A big story for Texas A&M will be the play of Connor Weigman.
Yeah.
The redshirt sophomore led the Aggies. He was 2-1 last year. Remember, before he got hurt in week 4, he had Texas A&M. Of course, they had that bad loss at Miami. He was 82 of 119, 979 yards, 8 scores, 63 yards on the ground, 2 scores there, 5 touchdowns in the opener. No Aggie quarterback had done that since Johnny Manziel.
Johnny boy.
He gets hurt, does Connor Weigman. Texas A&M really, you could say after he gets hurt, they were not the same. And so what does this year in store for him?
A really good one. I think that's probably the one position of them all, right? Because, when you talk about where he was in the spring, learning a brand new system, coming back from injury, not anywhere near 100%. And then, I keep telling, we talk about this internally a lot, imagine being a thrower, but not being able to put a ton of pressure on your plant leg, so it was, as he's throwing a football, he can't put pressure on his left foot to the way he wants to. And so how you compensate for that, or, it was challenging. It was really challenging for him. And so then to be able to come out of that, now be healthy, be able to play and function the way you want to, be a lot more comfortable in the system, which allows you to kind of be able to play the game the way you want. It's been a cool summer for him to just watch it come together, see the confidence, see the excitement, see the energy. And so, again, none of that is in pads. And so we've got to go out in pads in fall camp and continue to go in that direction. But I think he's a lot more comfortable today than he was at the spring game for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I mean, leg injuries are tough. He had a severe ankle injury. And so your lower half is so important, where you have to be confident in what you're doing from a knee perspective, from an ankle perspective. And that's really been Connor Wegman's whole deal, is just been staying healthy. And he's had trouble doing that since he got to Texas A&M. He's a very talented player. There wasn't a lot of buzz about him, even though we were deep in the heart of overrated. Like they didn't, there was a lot more buzz about Texas, Quinn Ewers, all this stuff. There was a little bit of talk about Connor Wegman, but not a lot.
Right.
And I kept saying it's a sneaky good hire with Mike Elko, and that I still think one of the more underrated teams is Texas A&M. Now, they have some talent deficiencies at some spots because of the transfer portal and guys leaving and everything, but I still think coaching matters, culture matters. I think Elko is going to do a good job of fixing that. And if Connor Wegman, people forget he's a former 5-star guy,
right?
If he can stay healthy and if he's a quick fit to this system, if he takes to it like a duck to water, then potentially Texas A&M could be much better than people think.
And Mike Elko has a history of, making quarterbacks good.
Yeah.
He did it at Duke. Riley
Leonard, after redshirting, man, Riley Leonard had a hell of a career. That kind of derailed Duke last year too, because he got hurt.
Yes.
And then transferred to Notre Dame once Elko left. But Riley Leonard was a late bloomer out of Fairhope High School and really had an unbelievable year 2 years ago. Last year, it was mostly just banged up, hurt, lower leg issues, kind of like Connor Wegman. And now he'll be at Notre Dame. And, we'll see if he can – because I'll just say this. Going into last year, because of the season he had, is in his first full year starting at Duke, which basically, he was a redshirt sophomore at Duke, and he just lit it up. He had over 3,000 yards of offense. A lot of people were mentioning him going into last year that if he had another kind of year that he had the season before, which was he was an all ACC type guy. He was an under the radar, Heisman guy going into the year, that if he had another big season,
right,
that he would be, maybe he would have been in that NFL draft class with a chance to go early, but the injuries derailed him. And then fascinating with the way the schedule works out in the football gods, that Riley Leonard is going to be the starter at Notre Dame in their first games in College Station against A&M, against his former coach.
And that is why a lot of people believe Notre Dame, a lot of people are buying into the preseason hype of Notre Dame being a playoff team and possibly winning a national championship because Riley Leonard is healthy. So there you go. So you can love Notre Dame even more. Let's get a break in, because when we come back, we got to talk baseball. The Major League Baseball trade deadline.
What the hell was that?
If I'm going to mess it up, I'm just going to mess it up.
Oh.
The Major League Baseball trade
has
deadline
come and gone.
Has come and gone.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Braves, a lot of people.
They got some of the band back together, but they didn't make a couple more moves.
But I'll say this, though. The price to get a starting pitcher.
It's steep.
And so Alex Anthopoulos had a choice. Spend a little bit of money or basically trade away a lot of the future for the Braves.
Yeah.
Chose to spend a little bit of money, in my mind.
Right.
Keep the future for the Braves of picks and everything else like that and guys on the roster. That's my feeling. That's a good move. We'll see if Bill Shanks agrees with all of us coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be possible across the Tennessee Valley through the heart of the afternoon, early into the evening. Most of us probably going to end up staying dry. The big story, the fact that it's just going to be incredibly hot across the area. Air temperatures are going to climb into the mid-90s, but it is going to feel like it is anywhere between 105 and 109 degrees. We only drop into the mid and upper 70s as we head into the overnight. We're going to do this again as we head into your Thursday. A partly sunny sky, temperatures climbing into the mid-90s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got rescue units and law enforcement headed for the Calvert Road campground area in Limestone County. Apparently got an overturned boat with people in the water there. Got 565 and Madison Boulevard still being reported as an accident. Got 565 eastbound at Hughes Road being reported. And we got 72 westbound at Jefferson Street in Athens being reported as a no-injury accident. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the Heart Doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopé. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
Flying nonstop from Huntsville is a breeze on Breeze Airways. They're nice people flying nice people to nice places on really nice planes. Let's be direct. Nonstop from Huntsville to the places you want to go. Las Vegas, Orlando, or Tampa starting at $49. It's time for a weekend getaway or a long overdue week away. Time to check in using the convenient Breeze app and check out. What are you waiting for? Book today at flybreeze.com. That's flybreeze.com. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice.
That's the price you pay.
There you go. That's the price you pay. The Atlanta Braves have paid a price. Is that price going to be good enough to get them where they want to go? Does Alex, and obviously Alex Anthopoulos has a vision.
Mm-hmm.
He has a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Just hopefully that plan executes to the way Braves fans want it to.
Yeah, no question about it. And our next guest is the host of the Bill Shanks Show from 3 to 7 Eastern, 2 to 6 Central, each Monday through Friday. He had a very busy day yesterday because they were all over the trade deadline, as you would expect. It's always an interesting time because the Braves, I don't ever remember, and I've followed the Braves my entire life, and this is the most injuries in one season that I can ever that I ever remember seeing that the Braves incur. This was a great ball club last year. I know they ran out of gas in the playoffs, but they had an unbelievable regular season. Had a lot of expectations going into this year, but pretty much from the jump with Sean Murphy's injury in the first game, this has just been a ball club. Ronald Acuna that has not been healthy, has not been whole. And yet they've been able to tread water, and they did make a couple of moves. They didn't make as many as we had thought they might, but we're going to discuss all that and more with our good friend Bill Shanks, who has been kind enough to join us this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. The last time we spoke with you, Bill, we were talking about the expectations of this team going into the year. We were very excited. It's not happened, but I think the injuries have played a huge part in this. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Good to be with you.
Yes, sir. And I know you followed the Braves since the 1970s. Do you remember this many injuries, though, in 1 year for a ball club?
Well, I'm sure there may have been, Drew, but I think it's hard to compare with the impact that obviously it's had on this team. It's remarkable, obviously, and just frightening of how big of a deal it's been. And they had such a injury-free spring training. The only thing they had was a 2-week stint by Ronald Acuna to sit out with his knee, which was his original knee injury. And he got back and everything was fine. And I remember Alex Anthopoulos saying, this is kind of drama-free. And I think in a way you could hear some hesitation in his voice. Does that mean it's coming? And it started the first game with the injury to Sean Murphy with his oblique. And then 6 days later in Game 6, the injury to Spencer Strider. So it's just been one thing after another. And it has caused a team that looked very good on paper to fall apart and not be the same team. And it's amazing they are still above 500, to be honest with you. But it's going to be a challenge the last 2 months of the season.
Well, and that's why a lot of Braves fans were like, okay, why did the team not go out and get a starting pitcher at the trade deadline?
Though.
But you look around and the market for a starting pitcher was astronomical as far as teams wanting to give up. I mean, teams wanted a lot in return to get a starting pitcher. And Alex Anthopoulos stays steady.
Well, I think the market was high, but I think the market was attainable for the Braves. They had wanted to do that. They did not want to go over the third apron of the luxury tax, which would have cost them 10 spots in the first round of the draft next year. They wanted to stay below that. So it was partly financially motivated to stay where they were. But I think they believe, rightly or wrongly, that, all right, Max Fried's coming back. He's throwing another bullpen today in Milwaukee in a little bit. He threw okay the other day and felt okay. They feel as of now he's coming back. They think Reynaldo Lopez dodged the bullet and is okay. The MRI was clean after he had to come out of the game on Sunday. So obviously that's big news. They feel like they've got a good starting five with Chris Sale, Charlie Morton, Max Fried, Reynaldo Lopez, and Spencer Schwellenbach. So then Bryce Elder goes and throws a game like he did last night against the first place team, which was very impressive. Very proud for Bryce to do that after the last game he had pitched against St. Louis was not very good, and he gave up some runs, and then he calmed down and was very bad. But so I think they believe they're okay. I would have loved another pitcher. I would have loved to have gotten Jack Flaherty, but they're not the Dodgers. They can't just spend, or they can do anything they want. They won't spend just whatever they want to do like the Dodgers do, and so it does limit you to some extent. But I understand the logic. I understand the belief that, okay, Ozzie Albies is coming back. Michael Harris is coming back. That's going to be important. I think they do honestly believe that Jorge Soler is going to make a difference in their lineup, which I think he will. How big of a difference, I don't know. I think the bigger need, even more than pitching, to be honest with you, was another middle infielder.
Yeah, that's what I was a little bit surprised at, Bill. I thought they might go snag one.
Yeah, I wanted Brandon Lau from the Tampa Bay Rays. I would have loved to have had him. He plays second base, and then he can also play the outfield, so he could have played second until Ozzie returns, and then he could have gone to the outfield if need be.
Mm-hmm.
But he would have cost money, so they were not going to do that. And I don't know if they were talking about Brandon Lau. That's just an example of a player I thought that would have been beneficial for them. But they that scares me more than anything. Although they believe Ozzie Albies will be back earlier in September than maybe originally thought. He said that last night. Alex did, and Orlando Arcia has done better as of late.
He has.
So you have to hope to some extent that at some point the fortunes turn for you. That the injuries will stop, and you'll get people back, and you'll have more of a roster like you thought you were going to have. So I think they're hoping on that a little bit. But, I'm disappointed they weren't more active at the trade deadline. He's averaged 3 trades per year going into the trade deadline over the 6 years he's been the GM. So obviously only making one is not hitting that over-under. But I think where they're going to roll the dice and see what happens, and hope if they're healthy in October before the first round, whatever that first round may be, they're going to give it a go and see what they can do.
Are you good with the Jorge Soler trade?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I am, because they wanted him back after 2021, and he really wanted to go play in Miami where he lives.
That's right.
And that was unfortunate. They instead signed Eddie Rosario, which I think they really preferred Soler, because if you remember at that point, 2022, beginning of that year, they did not know the status of Marcell Ozuna as far as what he was going to be able to do to really get on track or not. He was coming off the injury / suspension, so there was a big question about that. So I think they thought that Soler could have been a good situation there. And I think they're familiar with these players. They're comfortable with players they know, and they know that these two enjoyed being with them and enjoyed being on the team. That matters to this front office and to this manager. And I think, Soler has been playing much better as of late. He had a very slow start in San Francisco, hit right at 200 for the first 2 months of the season, and he's been much better since then. And we know he can hit for power because the ball in Houston still hasn't landed.
That's so right. Over the railroad tracks. Well, Bill, let me ask you a question about, though, Garrett Crochet. Do you think the Braves missed an opportunity there, because he's been so good for the White Sox? They might have been able to keep him under. They would have been able to keep him under control. Was that, in your mind, was that a missed opportunity, or was that too expensive a move for the Braves?
No, they dodged the bullet, because evidently all that kid and his agent cared about was a new contract before the playoffs.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
I would have much preferred him saying, all I want to do is win, and I'm tired of losing, and I'm on the worst team in baseball, and I want to go to a winner. And all that evidently came out of their mouths were, I want a new contract. So I'm glad they didn't get him. They hinted around about wanting a new contract before he pitched in October. So no, again, if there was money was not a factor here, Blake Snell would have been my preference, because I think Blake Snell is pitching well. Well, again, he had 15 strikeouts this past Saturday, so I think he would have been my preference. I would have liked Jack Flaherty. I'm unhappy that the people who got him in a trade, but no, Garrett Crochet was not on my list. I struck him off after what I read about that.
Very interesting thoughts there from Bill Shanks, host of the Bill Shanks Show. And Bill, I couldn't keep from chuckling from one of our interviews in the past, and it's getting the band back together. He's coming back. The bullpen's been really good. He'll be added to it. But what are our thoughts on Luke Jackson coming back? Because I know he kind of drove everybody crazy, though he was very effective in the World Series win in October that year. But again, kind of an up and down roller coaster for Luke.
Well, when Luke was on the team, we nicknamed Luke the Fluke, and then we also our show and our callers deciding we collectively decided to call him Tito, because we had to reach for the Tito's every time he came into the game. He's pitched better as of late. Again, they believe in his stuff. They believe, and it's kind of like let's call it the Jesse Chavez effect. They almost feel, to a certain extent, like when these guys who they're familiar with put that uniform on, they're going to play better.
Yes,
it may be ridiculous, it may be stupid, but that they feel like, okay, we feel like they'll come here and play well, and I think Soler will. I really do. He loved being, San Francisco. The Giants haven't had a hitter since Barry Bonds hit over 30 homers, so that's a long time, right? That's a pretty good while, and I don't think they've had a player not named Barry Bonds hit over 30 home runs in like 20 years. Soler was supposed to change that, and he didn't, because that's obviously not a very easy park to hit home runs in. So he hit home runs when he was in Atlanta, and he had 36 last year in Miami. So I think I feel good about that, and I think Luke, Luke can be scary when he's in the closer's role, but if he's in a setup role, he's usually okay, and so. The numbers are better as of late. He doesn't walk people, which is good. So I'm anxious to see what he can do. And I've locked the Tito's and the Crown Royal up just to make sure.
So one of the things, with the Braves having so many injuries, a lot of guys have been called up. A lot of guys have gone back down. They've used the AAA roster quite a bit. But there is the September call-up. So they don't have the trades, but there is the September call-up. Is there somebody that the Braves can look at and bring up in September that might fill a hole?
Well, sure. I think it depends on the need, but I think one person to keep an eye on is Hurston Waldrop, the first-round draft pick from 2023 from the University of Florida. I think there's a sentiment within the organization that it's what if this kid was in the bullpen in September and October? He's got a very good fastball. He's got a pitch that moves all over the place, that is funky, that a lot of people do wonder if it was coming out of the bullpen and he was almost focusing on those two pitches, how much better would he be compared to being stretched out as a starter? I don't know if they'll go in that direction, but I'm going to be anxious to see what they do with him in AAA now that he's back from his little injury that he had. I think that's a possibility. I think, you kind of have to put a chart together and say, all right, if the playoffs started today, what are our options? What would we do? And what are our backups? And how would we? I think now they may think I'm stupid, but to me, you've got a board on your wall in your office as a GM, and you're saying, all right, playoffs started today. What's my roster like?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you have to look at every option you have of like, okay, this is what we will roll with, and these are the ones below the line that if we had to call on them, we would give them a shot. And again, the only place I'm really worried about is middle infield. I mean, I just, if Ozzie comes back, he's okay, fine. I don't think Nacho Alvarez is ready. I think he needs more time in the minor leagues, and I hope Whit Merrifield's finger will get healed so he can start playing second base more. Because I think I like Whit Merrifield, but you're talking about a roster right now where Whit Merrifield got released by the Phillies. Ramon Laureano got released by Cleveland. Eddie Rosario got released by the Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Duvall couldn't get a job until mid-March because nobody wanted him. So that's part of my worry of this roster. It's not, it's not the best roster they've ever had. So we'll see.
Well, and they finally did get some good injury news, as you already pointed out early in the segment, with Ronaldo Lopez. He's had a really good year, and then he'll hopefully be bouncing back soon and be back on the mound and back on the bump for the Braves and continue to be a big part of that rotation. But as the biggest silver lining of these injuries, has it been the development of Schnellenbach? Because watching that start this weekend was unreal, watching him with the 11 Ks and no walks in 7 innings. He seems to be getting better every time out, Bill.
Well, he's been very impressive, and I think the Braves have got one that's going to stick, Drew. I really do, because I think he is he's a good pitcher. The kid knows what he's doing. He's athletic. He has an assortment of pitches. He has a command on the mound, a presence on the mound that I think you want pitchers to have. But I think he's smart. He knows how to use his pitches. And to be honest with you, the biggest thing for me about him is he's made 10 starts and he's got 10 walks. And if you do that in the big leagues, you're going to have success, especially if you can strike people out, which he can. He's struck out about a batter per inning. So put all that together and you watch him, forget about the stats, you watch him and see how he performs and how, again, that mound presence is. The kid just knows what he's doing. He's smart. He's a smart kid. I guess there are some smart people who go to University of Nebraska. And so, look, it is probably one of the best things about this season is that he's emerged. The other thing you have to ask, though, Drew, is, okay, well, this kid's never pitched this much in his life.
Right.
So
Snit said that, yeah.
Are we going to have a Bryce Elder situation where he runs out of gas here in 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks? Maybe not. I mean, when you have a season like this where it's like every time you turn around, something bad's happening, you almost expect the worst. Well, Bryce Elder's going to fall apart. Well, Schwellenbach's going to fall apart. Well, Max's blister's going to come back. Well, Charlie's 80 years old. Well, it's like you just are negative Nancy because you think, well, hell, everything bad's happened so far. Everything bad will happen moving forward. That's not necessarily true, and I know we can use 2021 as a benchmark of saying, well, heck, they didn't get over 500 until August the 6th 3 years ago, and look what happened. Doesn't mean it's going to happen again this year, and obviously they're over 500 now, but the point is, things can happen in the last 2 months of the season that can be good. And so you just have to hope that'll happen. I think the one thing we've been trying to have is something tangible to latch onto to say, okay, this is the turning point. You know, I joked a couple of weeks ago, well, Bobby Cox showing up at the game, maybe that'll be a turning point. They won for a couple of games and then they lost.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, maybe Schwellenbach's game the other day. Well, they won Saturday and Sunday and then they lost on Monday. Maybe Jorge Soler in the lineup today. They need a winning streak. You know, the worst stat, I think, of all, let me bring this up real quick because I think this is very relevant. The worst stat of all to me about the Braves is the Phillies in July are 10-13. The Braves are 11-13, only a half game better. But since June 1st, the Phillies are 25-24, a game over 500. The Braves are a game under 500. So they have not taken advantage of the fact that the Phillies have leveled off here. You know, they had a great first 2 months of the season, but the Phillies now are their schedule caught up to them a little bit as expected back in early June. But the Braves have been around 500. So that stinks because you know what? If they were closer, I mean, if they had played even marginally better, they'd be a heck of a lot closer than 7.5 games out of first place, and we'd have a race on our hands.
We certainly would, and it'll be a great show later today. As we said, 3 to 7 Eastern, 2 to 6 Central, the Bill Shanks Show on the superstations.com. Bill, we always appreciate the time. Great intel from the Atlanta Braves and the trade deadline. We always enjoy the conversations. I know we'll be talking again as the playoffs are upon us, and hopefully the Atlanta Braves are going to be a part of that in the wild card race and maybe even make a race out of this with the Phillies. We'll see, but certainly enjoyed it, and thank you, sir.
Thank you, Drew and Scott. Always a pleasure to be on with you.
Thanks. Bill Shanks, kind enough to join us. Good stuff there. Good
Yeah.
Braves insight. Let's get that final break in. Wrap it all up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got an overturned boat at the Calvert Road Campground. That's in Limestone County. That's south of Nuclear Plant Road. Had several people in the water there. Apparently, at least one person has not come out of the water from that boat. And we just got a wreck southbound Research Park near Old Madison Pike. That one's coming in as a no injury. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. You can make it safer for them. Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And we just saw the Big Ten preview for the SEC on CBS. And we were talking about when we were in SEC Media Days, obviously, we did not have time to go over a lot of things.
Yeah.
But here is the graphic. This is what it sounds like for those. week in and week out for college football.
That's like a Rolls Royce and a Buick, man.
That is the ABC ESPN
The Buick
intro.
being the new song for ESPN, the SEC. That's awful. It's CBS is 10 times better.
Yeah.
Now the little 10 gets it.
They do. They do.
You know, I mean, that song for CBS is iconic, man, and I'm gonna miss it.
So we go from that. Anyway, there's other news. Important. I guess I don't know if it's important news, but Auburn and Houston will begin a 2-year series on the hardwood on November 9th
That's gonna be
at the Toyota Center.
That's gonna be some great basketball right there, man.
The return game will be in 25-26 in Birmingham.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama and Houston have played quite a bit, and very likely will play again this year in that NIL event. But Auburn and I'm glad Auburn and Houston are going to start playing and start a series because Kelvin Sampson does a great job. Bruce Pearl, we know what he's built. That's going to be a great series.
It was a great show. Hopefully, I don't think we offended anybody today, so we've won that.
I hope not. I don't know.
I don't think anybody offended anybody today. At least we didn't have any moronic takes.
No, I don't think so.
We were good of that today.
We did have to have our ears bleed listening to the new song.
We did.
The SEC.
We didn't have to, but we chose to.
Yeah.
Just because we saw the new Big Ten promo on CBS and they get to use the SEC song.
Yeah, they do.
Hand-me-downs. They have to use an SEC hand-me-down.
Well, it's still a better song than we get to listen to.
Oh my God. Oh, it's the Lion King.
There we go.
Or Tiger King or whatever it's.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs.